What's up, everyone, and welcome to another Bitcoin market update. In these videos, you will learn how to use technical analysis to forecast price movements in your favorite cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and others. If you're getting started in the cryptocurrency economy and you're learning how to use technical analysis to forecast these price movements and you're just getting started, a good starting point would be our beginner technical analysis course that were released on Leutheria.com. This is where you can see in-depth TradingView tutorials. You can see different presentations on concepts like candlesticks, how to read volume, how to read trends, and several other helpful concepts for you as you get started on your cryptocurrency journey. So check that out. There's a link for that in the description below. You can currently get that 20% off, and it has received a lot of positive feedback from people that have taken the course. So check it out and let me know what you think of it. So let's start off with Bitcoin on the monthly time frame here. We're looking at this drawdown here. You can see it is starting to become weaker, and the way we know that is the declining bear volume as well as these wicks on these last two monthly candles. So people have been buying the dip really anywhere below 34,500. Below that, people have been buying the dip and bidding it up. So we have not seen our higher low been set yet. We need to break above the high at 41,322 for that to be the case. So we'll potentially see that over the coming month. But even if we do, where we're going to be looking to set our lower high is likely going to be right up here at the $46,000, $46.2 thousand level is what I was trying to say. And that's up here at the pivot level. So this pivot indicator is really helpful if you don't use this. It's very helpful for charting out support and resistance levels on different assets like Bitcoin and others. And it really, what it does is it takes the average of the previous prices period. Here in this case, we're looking at the monthly, so it's going to be taking the previous year, and it charts out the resistance and support levels, which are these S1 through S5 levels, the pivot, and then the R up to the R5, R1 up to R5. The pivot is support or resistance depending on where the price is in relation to it. So right here, the price is above it, so it's going to be support. If the price was below it, it would be resistance. And we'll talk about this indicator more throughout this video as price has been reacting to these levels on different time frames. So let's go to the weekly time frame. If we look at this from a weekly perspective, right now we have a pretty weak follow through here from the bulls after this candle closed right here. We traded up and we did close with a white candlestick, but we did not get much follow through, and then subsequently we have started to draw down ever since this weekly candle closed right here, right around 35,000, 35,291. Sorry, I couldn't really see it very well there. So we had our low. This light blue support level has been tested here. We have our low. We came down. We bounced. We came up. We formed our lower high. We came down again. We formed a lower low. So we were doing the makings of a bear trend, but we closed way back above. And we potentially grabbed some liquidity below this low and this low. Now, liquidity is where there's stop losses. So there's a lot of stop losses below this low, and there was a lot of stop losses below this low. And those are people that went long here and people that went long here. So the people that went long here are saying, if the price goes below this low, I want to be out of my trade. I want to be out of my long, so I'm going to sell my Bitcoin in this case. So when the price goes down below it right here and wicks below both of those lows, what happens is it triggers a lot of stop losses. And that's a lot of money that's on these exchanges that is available for people to buy now. There's a lot of Bitcoin that's available for people to buy because a lot of people are selling because of their stop losses. So that's liquidity. So that liquidity allows big players to fill large positions without needing to move the price or affect the price significantly, because there's all these other people that are selling due to their stop losses being triggered. So that could have been what this was right here, is what we call liquidity run, which is where the whales engineer a move to move the price down to trigger stop losses, so then they can eventually move the price up after they get a very good position down here. So we went up. Now we're coming down again, potentially here. So if we break the low of this candle here at 32,680 on this exchange, our lower high will have been set, and then we'll look to potentially form a higher low somewhere above the $28,000 level. And then if we can come up again and form a higher high, then we change the trend for the bulls, and then we're in a good position for the bulls to move up here to the $46,000 level and the R2 pivot. Okay, 2-day time frame. If we look at this from a 2-day, actually let's briefly touch on the 3-day time frame. From a contraction standpoint, we're seeing a lot of it right here. We can see that we have an inside bar and another inside bar, and now we're forming an inside bar once again here. Now, this is going to be a matter to see if we break below this low here or go above this high. Now, the likelihood that what I talked about in yesterday's video is because of the magnitude of this move, which is roughly 27% from the low here, it's likely that we have set our lower high in comparison to this one, and we're going to now come down and try and form a higher low in comparison to this one. The reason is because it's very unlikely for us to just break this to the upside and continue to just go up for a higher high above this high. It's far more likely that we set a lower high. It might not be this one, but it's likely going to be a lower high in comparison to this one, because for us to go down, set this low, and then come up and form a higher high, we would need to appreciate over 43% to do that. And so for us to do that without forming at least a higher low on the way is very unlikely. So that's the 3-day time frame. 2-day time frame, if we're looking at this from a 2-day perspective, we have our resistance level right here from our bull trend, where this was where price was initially resistance. So on the retest, it should be support right here, but it pushed right through it and closed below it. So now when we retested this, it's resistance. We see we have one rejection here, and then we have the makings of a second rejection here, but we haven't broke the low of this candle yet, so we don't actually have a valid rejection off of it. I've said a few times now, I think this level is probably going to hold as resistance at least one more time before we go up again. So that would mean that we're going to most likely break the low of this candlestick right here, relatively soon. So if we do, then we're going to be looking to potentially see the makings of a 2-day time frame bear trend with a high, low, lower high, and then lower low. Now, if we get two 2-day candle closes below this low right here at 32,680, and we get, like I said, we get those 2 candle closes below that level, what will happen is we'll form a very strong resistance level for price around this zone here, and we'll see what we end up getting in the subsequent days, but that'll probably likely suppress price, and we'll go down below the light blue weekly level that we're currently in. If we look at this from a daily perspective, looking at this from the daily Super Guppy's still very much in the bearish position here, with all of the longer term EMAs, these dark red ones, above the shorter term EMAs, which are these dark blue ones here. If we look at this from a pivots perspective, we can see that on the 2-day time frame, the price wicked into this pivot level right here and subsequently rejected off of this point. So we can see on the 1-day time frame that for the bulls, we need to hold this low, or at least hold a low above this one here at 32,680 and come up and form a higher high, so we can try and turn this into a bull trend. But for right now, the bull move that we had here is getting sold off, and we're seeing this longer upper wick, which will likely in the next 4.5 hours turn into a bearish candlestick to the downside if this trend continues on the lower time frames, which we'll look at in a second. This dark blue zone is our support zone. This is from our bull trend back here. You can see we've wicked into it several times. We got a couple closes below it, but then we closed back inside of it for both of those. So we haven't gotten 2 candle closes below this zone. If we do, that's going to be notable, and this will likely turn into a strong resistance zone for price, at least in my mind, and that'll be something that I may look to potentially go short on retest. Lower time frames, 12-hour time frame, you can see that we've already seen a rejection from this gray zone right here. Since coming up right here, we have subsequently come down and formed, we're starting to form a low in comparison to this one. So we'll see in the next 4.5 hours where this candlestick closes. But right now, this long upper wick is not looking good for bullish continuation, but anything is possible. If we look at this from a 6-hour perspective, this 6-hour resistance level right here that we talked about yesterday with this short trade right here, you can see that after that short trade played out, we had a nice big white candle here of bulls buying, and then subsequently a nice long-bodied black candle to reject right off of this level again. So we have one test of this, two tests of this. Now if we go into this again, this will be the third test of it. Eventually it will end up breaking to the upside if we keep testing it. So we'll see if it holds again for a third test here. You can see the hourly pivot level right here was a very good entry for a short trade on this move. I was asleep when this happened, so I did not get into this trade, but that was a potential opportunity right there. If we look at this from a 4-hour perspective, right now we're kind of wicking below this low of this candlestick here that we formed when we made our higher low here. We did not form a valid 4-hour bull trend though, because this candlestick closed back below this key high. So we're still looking to see how this 4-hour time frame is going to play out over the coming days, but right now it's just kind of a lot of chop right here. We don't really have a lot of established support or resistance here. We have the resistance here on the 6-hour time frame, and then we also have a support level right here, which we can draw. So this is where price is currently bouncing off of. You can see we've already tested this once here, tested again here, and now it's the third test. So every time that we test a level like we talk about, it is getting weaker. So both of these levels are getting weaker, both this gray area here and this gray area here. So with each subsequent test of these, it's getting weaker. One of these sides is going to break. If we get 2 candle closes below this low, I would anticipate that we're going to continue to the downside. If we get 2 candle closes above this high, I would anticipate we're going to go to the upside. So we will see what we can get here over the coming days, but really what we're watching for is this daily consolidation kind of range to break out one side or the other. Right now you can see that we've just been tightening up here with a low, high, higher low, lower high, potential higher low, and then we're going to see where we break here. We're either break to the downside or break to the upside, but whatever way we break, we're going to see some pretty significant expansion because of this tightening range here. So that's something that I'm keeping an eye on right now. That's all I got for this one, guys. If you like this video, give it a like down below and subscribe for future educational content around cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. And if you'd like to get access to all of the trading ideas that the Leutheria team has to offer related to Bitcoin and Ethereum, we'll be sharing all of those on our Leutheria Signals channel, which you can get access to and subscribe to using by sending an email to the email in the description below, and we will then send you the information you need to get started there on setting up your subscription to our Discord channel, and you can check that out. And besides that, you can also check out our free Leutheria Telegram channel. This is where you can get unlimited access to all of the community resources that we have to offer in there. People share different news articles in there, different ideas, questions that they have. You can get your questions answered by the community and also learn about different projects and things in there as well. So it's definitely worth checking that out as well. And until tomorrow, onward and upward.